And welcome back to the David 67 Celtic News Monday lunchtime video. One or two wee IT snags today, so the video is a bit more delayed than I was planning. This Monday lunchtime video is going to be a wee post-match review of Celtic's dramatic, but very much needed 2-1 win over Kilmarnock yesterday afternoon live on Sky Sports. Dramatic added time penalty kick, very bravely put away by Kelechi Iheanacho on his debut. And the other big star of the game was also the debutant Sebastian Tounekti out on the left wing. So in today's video, we're going to have a wee look at the match incidents, 3 goals. We look at the penalty incident, my own match ratings, and also the stats for the game, and one or two wee thoughts about other events in and around the game yesterday. So, as was threatened by a proportion of the Celtic fans, they boycotted the first 12 minutes of the game, boycotted the pre-match warm-ups as well, boycotted the players coming onto the pitch, and not too unsurprisingly, I thought Celtic started quite flat and quietly. The ground was pretty much dead. There weren't many Kilmarnock fans in attendance. There was virtually no noise, no cheering for the first 15 minutes or so, as the Celtic fans did decide to stop their protest and come in to support the club. The noise levels did go up and up and up, and I do feel that the support of the Celtic fans, with Celtic kicking into that end, was a factor in Celtic keeping going to the final whistle and supporting Iheanacho to scoring that debut dramatic penalty kick. Not many incidents in the first half. Sebastian Tounekti, lots of good runs, lots of good trickery, got himself into the box, a few nice passes and crosses into the box, but no real major chances. A few misplaced shots, a few easy saves for the Kilmarnock goalkeeper, and pretty much Celtic's best chance of scoring a goal was a long-range, well-hit shot from Cameron Carter-Vickers. The Kilmarnock goalkeeper dive to his right to push away past the post. Otherwise, Celtic never looked much like scoring a goal. They did have 75% of the possession in the first half, 9 shots in the first half, which is good. 5 off targets, 3 on targets, and 1 blocked in that first half, forcing 3 saves and 4 corners. But never really looked like they were going to score a goal right in that first half. Same pretty much start of the second half. None of the Celtic players, apart from Tounekti, looking dangerous. The 2 fullbacks, Donovan and Sirachi, had very good games, I thought, too. And it was actually Sirachi who stepped forward in his advanced left-back position. Brilliant cross from there. Nice run by Dyson Maida, getting away from the defender, and a very good diving header. Beat the goalkeeper, putting Celtic 1-0 up after 56 minutes. With Celtic 1-0 up around about the 57th minute or so, Rodgers then made a couple of rather baffling substitutions. On came Tierney in place of Sirachi. Sirachi, I think, had a brilliant game at left back, both in attack and defence and moving into midfield. I think Mikael Ongj deserved a good 10-15 minutes against the Kilmarnock defence, when the Kilmarnock defence was going to be much more open. Instead, Forrest came on, and Forrest was equally ineffectual as Balakwisha had been earlier in the game. Celtic had a few half chances, mostly coming through Sebastian Tounekti's good work up and down on the left, but no real other goal-scoring chances. Iheanacho and McCowan came on later on. Iheanacho had half a chance that looked like it actually was deflected over by the defender, but the ref gave it as a missed shot by Iheanacho. And then, as the game wore on, Kilmarnock made a few substitutions, went a bit more attacking, and got Celtic under a bit of pressure, primarily coming down Kieran Tierney's side. Some dodgy defending also from Carter-Vickers and Scales, not really coping very well with big, tall, rough centre forwards, which has been a recurring theme for the 2 of them. Kilmarnock got a couple of corners, and with the second of the corners, very good in-swinging corner, and Watson rose above the Celtic defence. Powerful header giving Kasper Schmeichel no chance. Some poor marking in the middle from Tierney, Carter Vickers, Scales meant that Watson was up against one of Celtic's shorter players in Sebastian Tounekti, and Watson, who is always a threat in the air, having scored a couple of goals in the past against Celtic with headers, was let free, and 83rd minute, Celtic looked like they might be ending up with a draw. However, Celtic did have a go. They got a couple of half chances, but no real chances. Then Donovan got himself in behind on the right-hand side, squared the ball back to James Forrest, who had a shot that was on the goal. Mayo, the Kilmarnock defender, on his line, stuck his arm out, it hit his arm. The ball had been slightly deflected, it had come from short distance. However, given the way that Willie Collum had been advising what should or shouldn't be a penalty for handball in his VAR show on Sky on Friday evening, it looked to me that this was going to be a one where the VAR referee advised John Beaton, the referee on the pitch, to have a look at it. And indeed, after about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, that's what happened. Beaton had one or two looks at it on the screen, came on and indicated the penalty. Bit of confusion as to who was going to take the penalty because none of Celtic's usual designated penalty takers were on the pitch. It looked like at one point it could have been Callum McGregor, another point it could have been Benjamin Negrin. However, Iheanacho bravely on his debut stepped forward, took the ball, calmly put it on the penalty spot, a couple of stuttering steps, and then whacked the ball into the top corner, giving the goalie no chance, cueing a big celebration of Iheanacho and the players running into the Celtic fans, and Celtic fans doing what they're supposed to do, supporting the team, celebrating the team's victory, and in the end, Celtic held on to win 2-1, and a much-needed 3 points, putting themselves back on top of the table ahead of Hearts on goal difference. Moving on to the stats for the game, Celtic were massively on top. Possession 76-24, shots were 21 for Celtic, 12 for Kilmarnock. 6 on targets, 9 off targets, and 6 were blocked, forcing the Kilmarnock goalkeeper into 4 saves. Kasper Schmeichel made just 1 save. Corners was 7-6 in favour of Celtic, and Celtic had a decent 46 touches in the box to Kilmarnock's 17. Passing was very efficient, about 90% accuracy, and there were more forward passes than in recent games, fewer backward passes in recent games, and many of the sideways passes, of which there were, again, an awful lot. At least this time, a lot of them were first time and quickly spreading the ball from right to left, or having created half a space, getting that ball forward into a gap, primarily to Tounekti and Sirachi on the left, or Donovan on the right. As all three did actually make good progress and got some space, although Celtic didn't serve Mikel Ange-Balaquisha terribly well, nor did they supply much in the way of chances to Dyson Maida and Iheanacho in the middle. Moving on to my player ratings, I've given Kasper Schmeichel 6.5, had no real chance with the goal, made 1 save. I suspect that must have been the one where he dived out to catch the low cross from the right-hand side. His distribution was good, a couple of very good kick-outs from hand that restarted Celtic's attack, did a good job keeping things moving. Gave both full-backs, Colby Donovan and Marcello Sirachi 7. I think they were Celtic's equal second-best player. They got themselves forward on a regular basis. Sirachi set up the first goal. Donovan set up the penalty. They got Celtic the win. They defended well. They never really looked in trouble at all. And it was only when Sirachi got taken off to get replaced by Tierney that things went a bit haywire down Celtic's left. Gave Carter Vickers and Scales both 6 out of 10 as centre-backs. Their passing was okay, their defending was okay, but it did feel to me that once Kilmarnock got a bit more over the ball, put a bit more pressure on Celtic's defence, that Celtic really struggled with the big tall centre-forward and the rough, tough centre-forward in Marley Watkins. And I think the two of them could have and should have done better coping with the Kilmarnock attacking players and at the set pieces and long throws into the box. Given both Rio Hatate and Benjamin Negrin 5 out of 10, I thought they were pretty poor actually. Very few good creative moments from either of them. they did appear to be trying to be a focus and a pivot for the attack on more occasions, taking some of the pressure off McGregor. However, things still pretty much always seem to have to go through McGregor. There were an awful lot of rather negative passes going back to him. Negrin and Hattati, pretty poor performances. McGregor, giving them a 6 out of 10. Didn't really get Celtic fired up at the start. Didn't get really Celtics fired up after they'd gone to 1-1. Few nice passes, particularly one in the first half to Tounekti, but not really a particularly good game from McGregor, so 6 out of 10. 5.5 for Mikel Onge-Balaquisha. Didn't really get very much service, nor did he really particularly show for the ball. One or two half runs and half passes and half good moments, but no, not really that great. So 5.5 for him. However, I think if Celtic do get him the ball, he is going to be an important creative player down the right, starting to create goals and score goals. 6.5 for Dyson Maeda in the middle. Didn't have his greatest game. Didn't actually have terribly much in the way of service from his teammates. Did, however, make a good run and diving header to score the goal. Did show lots of enthusiasm running all over the pitch. One or two silly fouls he gave away as well, but he did look like he was trying 100%, as he always does do. Gave Sebastian Tounekti 7.5 in man of the match. Lots of great runs, some good passes, some good crosses, a couple of shots that weren't that great, a couple of shots that did get a lot closer, a few risky moves that didn't work, a few risky moves that did work, and he was Celtic's one and only real shining bright attacking player of the game, backed up by the two fullbacks. I was absolutely dumbfounded when Rodgers took him off 3 minutes from the end, with Celtic having a game to win, to take off the one player who seemed to be a threat to create a goal or score a goal. It seemed bemusing to take that player off. Given, in terms of the subs, 5 for James Forrest. Didn't really take advantage of the extra space on the Kilmarnock left to attack. 5.5 for Kieran Tierney, 5.5 for Luke McCowan. Celtic defended rather poorly down that side when Tierney came on. He looked a bit tired, out of sorts, lacking sharpness, and Kilmarnock used that to exploit Celtic's defence on that side. Didn't really get very much forward either, so 5.5 for him. Luke McCowan, one or two nice touches, but really pretty ineffectual, pretty useless, and it didn't do anything bringing him on to replace Hattati. And I've given Kelechi Iheanacho, didn't really get much in the way of service, to get himself into the box for what I thought was deflected over, but was given as a by kick. And then bravely stepped up to whack that penalty in to give Celtic the win, and that bumped him up for me to 6.5. Yang was only on for 2 or 3 minutes at the end. He may as well have not come on. I think he touched the ball once. And so didn't give him a rating because he hardly had any time to get a rating. So thought it might be a nice new feature to give the manager, at this time it's Brendan Rodgers, a rating for his performance, selection, tactics, formation changes, substitutions, etc. So given Brendan Rodgers 3.5, thought he had a poor game all around. Selections, I think, were fine. Bringing in Sirachi and Donovan worked well at fullback. Clearly, Tierney wasn't match fit. Ralston's going to be out for a week or two, or possibly longer. Giving Balaquisha and Tounekti the start out wide made a lot of sense. Iheanacho clearly isn't match fit, unlike what Rodgers had said in his press conferences, so starting Maeda made lots of sense. So some points for a good initial selection. However, otherwise he seemed to stand on the touchline getting wet in the pouring rain, hardly shouting, hardly changing things, which is pretty much par for the course with Rodgers these days. Didn't seem to fire up the players at the start of the game when the crowd was absent and the atmosphere rather dead. Didn't seem to change anything at half time. Didn't seem to fire the players up after it went to 1-1. So negative marks for that. Substitutions didn't make sense. Would have been a good idea to give Balaquisha 5, 10, 15 minutes against a more open Kilmarnock defence. Instead, he threw on Forrest. He doesn't seem at the moment to have the pace or trickery to get past a fullback or be that creative. McCowan for Hatate didn't make any sense. Hatate and Negrin weren't playing well, but it didn't really change things. McCowan didn't bring anything new to the formation, new to the tactics. And for me, sending on Engels with his extra power, extra height, his ability in both defensive and attacking dead balls would have made a lot more sense. Ticking off Tounekti with 3 minutes to go when Celtic had a game to win. It seemed bizarre to throw on Yang. If you'd taken off Forrest to put on Yang, kept Tounekti up and down the left-hand side, it would have made a lot more sense. Taking off Sirachi for Tierney backfired because Celtic got a lot more weak down that left side. Sirachi had a good game and didn't deserve to get taken off. Clearly, there was no fitness issues with him, and it made Celtic much weaker down that left-hand side. And so, 3.5 out of 10 for Brendan Rodgers, and I think he was Celtic's poorest performer on the day. However, do feel free to pop your own thoughts regarding a rating for Rodgers into the comment section. Also, do pop your own thoughts regarding the players, the tactics, the formations, the overall performance, so your own thoughts on whether the lack of the crowd for the first 15 minutes made a negative impact on Celtic like I do. If you feel it different, perfectly fine. Happy to hear lots of different thoughts and voices and debate, and what you thought. Did you think also, however, that the Celtic fans were very positive and supportive at the end, which helped power Celtic on to a deserved 2-1 win, which puts them back top of the table on goal difference. So, those were my thoughts of the game. We'll be doing more videos through the week and a live stream again on Thursday. If you are new to the channel, do please click that subscription button and add to the subscribers, which we've gone over 1,400. Do click that like button as well, it does help with analytics, and do pop your pleasant, polite, respectful comments, thoughts into the comment section for nice wee debate regarding the game and how Celtic are at the moment. So until the next video, goodbye and hail, hail.